In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 46 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at Kiln Boulder in Colorado talking with Haley Halteman. Haley is the brand manager for Origine, which provides organic, regenerative, cultivated spices, herbs, and botanicals. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoy.
Haley, we're glad that you could be here. Our second interview in this beautiful Boulder kiln space. But how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very good. We enjoyed the journey, and this is the longest that we've traveled so far, but we're looking forward to getting to know you and what you do. Could you introduce yourself, in fact, to our audience and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Haley. I'm the brand manager for a company called Origine.
Yep.
So the parent company Tripper has been around for about 30 years. We produce organic, regeneratively cultivated spices based out of Indonesia. And we've now developed this new US market retail line called Origine. So that's what we're launching right now that we're pretty excited about.
Very good. Now, say that one more time, because what the product is and what that really means.
So what we do is we work with farmers over in Indonesia. Mm-hmm. It's all organic, and we use like regenerative agriculture practices. So really we focus on the health of the soil, also just the health of the farmers themselves. So making sure we're supporting them in all of their needs. And we produce products like vanilla, cinnamon. We have butterfly pea, which is beautiful flower. It's kind of still new in the US market, turmeric, those sorts of items.
Wonderful. And how how did that begin? Tell us the origin story and why behind it.
So we were founded by 2 brothers, actually. So we're a family-run company, Francois and Olivier Bernard. So they actually grew up in France, but they spent a lot of their summers in Indonesia, kind of visiting local farmers markets. They worked with farmers, helping during harvest seasons, that sort of thing. And they just really fell in love with the area and also developed a deep respect for the local farming communities. So as they got older, they really wanted to help invest in them and kind of spread the products across the world.
That's wonderful.
And so you're the brand manager.
I am.
How long have you been with the company?
Yeah, I've actually only been here for 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're at a point now where the company, you said, is about to go and take this new leap, right? And I'm interested in, so what are you working on right now as it relates to brand and as it relates to prepping this next stage of the company? Yeah,
so they brought me on because we're looking to launch in the US market. So that's really been the goal now, is kind of refining the message and even the product offering of like, what exactly do we want to offer? Because the spice and baking aisles are pretty saturated at this point. So it's kind of looking at, what makes us unique? What is that niche that we can go? And the problem that we're trying to solve, essentially. So that's kind of been my mission over this past 6 months, is just sort of doing a lot of market research and figuring out, okay, where do we fit in? And also, how do we help educate the consumer? Because regenerative agriculture is still pretty new. I think we're still kind of figuring out what that looks like. But that's really our biggest thing that we're trying to push. So it's been heavy on the education piece.
And would you say that the niche or the value proposition is baked into this idea that it is also regenerative agriculture? Like that's a big proponent to where you're going to end up finding yourselves amongst all the other competitors?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, there's a lot of organic out there and really wonderful brands and clean products, but we kind of want to take it a step further. So with regenerative agriculture, it's not only good for you, but also the health of the environment as well. making sure that the farmers have soil that they can actually continue to farm on for years to come. Because when the soil is rich, it's not only better products, but then also, sustainable.
Yeah.
So
what drew you to brand specifically? And did you do that before you came to this company?
So I did a little bit. I'm actually, my background, I'm a nutritionist.
Oh, okay.
And a yoga teacher is kind of what drew me out to Colorado.
Okay.
So I have my own nutrition practice. I started doing more on the marketing side as well, and just doing, local projects for different gyms, things like that. And then when this became available, it was something I was super passionate about because I just fell in love with this company and all the work they were doing over there. So when they asked to be a brand manager, I was like, yeah, let's sign me up. Let's do this. So it was definitely like a shift, but it was a fun new project. And like I said, I'm all about doing things that I'm passionate about, and this caught my eye. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, that's incredible. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Even before, you found yourself doing yoga and you found yourself being a nutritionist. Like, what makes Haley, from, growing up, and what kind of got you to this point?
Yeah. So it's been a wild journey. I've done a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So my undergrad, always business background, but my parents were actually chiropractors. So it was always kind of in like the alternative medicine field. And then I graduated and I was actually working for a fashion company.
Oh, cool.
I was in their wholesale department doing operations and finance. And everyone was just miserable, to be honest. Like, oh my gosh, the antidepressants were just flying and the anxiety medications. And I was like, there has to be something else.
Yeah.
So I just started listening to a ton of podcasts, like health, wellness stuff. I had a lot of like built up angst, just from working there, that I started getting into yoga, started teaching. I'm very much like, if I like something, 2 feet in. So I went from just trying out a yoga class for the first time to then like next time basically signing up for the teacher training.
Facilitating it, yeah.
Why not? And then, I basically just became like the unofficial office health coach. So I just started would have like hour-long meetings with my boss, just like different things she could do to like improve her health. And then I found a holistic nutrition program out here. And I was like, okay, well, this is where I'm supposed to be. Everyone in the office was like, yeah, what are you doing? Like, you need to move out there. Packed up everything in a matter of like a week basically, and just drove out here, and kind of got into the whole holistic health world. It's been kind of a wild journey, but it feels like every year there's just something new that pops up. And like I said, I'm always like, well, let's go for it, 2 feet in. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I honestly don't know. So my dad has like a very entrepreneur mindset. And I think just my mom has always been super supportive of like whatever, I wanted to do. But to be honest, I'm not even sure where that comes from. It's just like the mindset of like, oh, here we are. So let's go for it and just give it the best we can.
That's great.
Yeah. So for Origine, is that correct? Yeah. Origine, and looking at launching in the US market right now, and the work that you're doing, what's one of the bigger challenges that you might be facing that you're trying to tackle?
Yeah, just the market saturation right now. And even working, trying to get into these grocery stores, they're like, oh, well, we already have these brands, we already have like your go-tos, like your Simply Organic, Frontier Co-op for spices. And then the baking aisle is really saturated, like Bob's, Red Mill. All these really great brands. And so for them, they're kind of like, okay, well, we already have this. Like, what's new about this? And so that's where we're really trying to push this regenerative angle, which just requires education, which unfortunately just takes time. But thankfully, we've definitely seen a shift recently in the marketplace where I think people are looking for that, and they're looking for something that's not only good for them, but for the environment, and something that's more sustainable. So it's been a struggle just based on the current market and what it's looking like. But I think it'll definitely work in our favor. We just have to keep pushing it. And so, it kind of goes back to my job, just that education piece, and almost building the demand from the consumer side that the grocery stores then have to bring it in because everyone's asking for it.
I'd love to know and kind of get into the nitty gritty details of that.
The how.
What is the education that you're doing, and how are you kind of looking to build up the consumer understanding and desire to help build that momentum.
Yeah. So we have some pretty incredible film crews over in Indonesia that are showing, you know, our farmer stories, that sort of thing. And even shows our owners going into the farming towns, you know, harvesting with them. And we have a lot of agroforestry programs that we work with our farmers too. So we have trained professionals who come in and educate, you know, the farmers every 3 to 4 months on how to improve, you know, the crop quality, biodiversity. And we're trying to get as much footage of that as we can to kind of bring that back over here. Right now, the main methods is through social media.
Yeah.
So like our Instagram, emails, that sort of thing. We're really trying to spread the word and build, you know, a really strong, loyal following. And now we're just sort of looking to partner with other companies that are kind of doing similar things to kind of promote, you know, the education piece that they're doing, you know, all the work they are. And hopefully they can work with ours too. So
just really great storytelling from like the people on the ground. Yeah. And then the customers here saying, I care about that. I feel some connection to doing good by, I guess, the farmers, the community, the world, the impact.
Exactly. Yeah. We really try to connect them as much with the farmer as we can. So even all of our labels have like a QR code where you can learn about the specific farmer. Because all of our ingredients are traceable, so you can see exactly what farm it came from, you know, the different plot of land. So you can really get to know your farmer, and that's really the goal, is to kind of bring that connection of, you know, people connecting, okay, I'm buying this product, but here's the person that created it, and, you know, building loyalty that way.
That is kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just in my on the van, it says Vemnoers for our trip. I'm thinking, I wonder if anyone does that with brands where you can like, yes, you buy the product, you support them, but Vemno the farmer, Vemno the actual person that's made this product. I wonder if anyone's done that before. But
I don't know, but that's a really cool idea.
Watch it.
Try it.
Yeah, why not? I mean, see what happens. So much is like trial and error. Exactly. Yeah. So why not experiment with that?
Especially when you know more than just like, depending on what you share about the person's story. So if it is, I mean, maybe there is a farmer that's got, I don't know, he's facing a different type of challenge in his life, and you're telling the story, and maybe there is a reason to send him, you know, something. People like to do it. They like to pay forward, don't they? Or at least they do. For sure. It seems like in lots of different communities, they're like, oh, I want to pay forward. Yeah. Especially if it is guaranteed to get into his, you know, his pocket rather than someone else. But anyway.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. It would be,
Let me know how it goes.
I know. I'm like, okay, thanks helping me out with my job. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's such a great idea.
What do you think makes a strong brand, in your opinion?
Really specific messaging. So knowing exactly who you're targeting, and then also, like the passion behind it. People can really feel when you're passionate about what you do, and when the story you're telling is real and authentic. So I think that's what makes the strongest brand, is just, and that authenticity.
That's so, I mean, it's definitely mirrored in Origine, right? Like it's authentic and it's personal, you know, even just from that QR code example. Yeah. So I see that just from what you've explained, and that's pretty cool. Yeah. So help me understand the role that Kiln plays for you in the work that you do.
So Kiln has been amazing. First off, I just love the space. It's beautiful. Yeah. Having all the plants around, it's the closest to Bali, like mirroring what the Bali office looks like, which we love around here. But then also just the community around here has been absolutely amazing. I feel like so often when you're working on different projects, it's easy to really get laser focused. And just get so sucked into that it kind of drains the creativity out of you. Versus here, you can walk around and see so many different people of different skill sets and mindsets. And, you know, it just sparks so much creativity. I feel like, even if you're just, you know, half the time I'm holding up the line at the coffee machine because I make the most complicated order ever. So I'm standing there, you know, and just sort of like a smile or a hi to someone can kind of like pull you out of that funk that you may have not even realized that you were in.
Yeah. I felt that even just this morning. I mean, I don't know how many hellos I got just walking through the hallway.
There we go.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Last question.
Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Campervans, a luxury campervan rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra Campervans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
also ensure energy security with backup power during outages,
reduce carbon emissions with renewables.
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
And enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode. Yeah, the last question. So we ask everybody this question that comes on the podcast. What do you think it takes to take an idea, one person and a single idea, and create a movement?
Honestly, I think it takes a team.
Yeah.
And kind of on 2 fronts, whether that be a team from like the business standpoint of finding people who share your mission, but, have different expertise in different areas and can help you out. So you're not just spinning your wheels trying to have everything on your shoulders. Or just a team of moral support. So like friends and family that are there to help ground you and kind of remind you of why you're doing what you're doing. Because so many times, especially for entrepreneurs, you just sort of lose sight of that. And there's like so much going on and you're like, what am I even doing anymore? Like, this is absolutely insane. So just having that team of moral support even is huge. And I find usually it requires a combo of both. Like some people that can help you strategically, other people that can help you when you just feel like everyth's falling apart.
It happens a lot. Super high highs, super low lows.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's great. Get other people that also believe in your idea.
Yeah.
And just get that momentum going. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Really
much.
appreciate it, Haley. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're one of the 100. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in 2 ways. 1, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, @the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.